Hi guys, so I'm sorry if there's like a loud noise in the background. It's the AC. It is just way too hot to have the AC on. This is hair. Let me pull it out. I'm gonna get yelled at for doing that by someone. Don't pull the fibers out of the wig. If you guys knew how much hair I've yanked out of this wig, I'm surprised there still even is a wig left. Okay, so I'm gonna do another ghost experience video thing. I'm gonna draw you guys a nice diagram again of the location. I actually got a few more comments than I expected on it, and also like 100 bajillion requests. But even if it's like just a few people, like if someone enjoys watching it, then why wouldn't you make a video for the people that actually enjoy watching it? So anyway, this one is going to be about, if you did watch the last one, I talked about a little boy that haunted me for quite a few years. This one's going to be about him because that haunting was, it took place over a really long period of time, and I saw him multiple times. And this was when I was younger, when I didn't really believe in ghosts. Um, okay, I'll start from the beginning. We were living in an apartment, and we had to move out of the apartment because the landlord was going to fully renovate the whole entire building that we were living in. It was like a two-family house, but there was like a karate school underneath us, and he was going to turn, because it was his karate school. But the area we were living in was really tiny. It was kind of like the back streets of like a main town. Not so much like hood-like or project-like, but it was right next to an area like that, so it still wasn't necessarily an area where parents would be like, let's bring our kids to karate school. It wasn't really that type of area. So we ended up moving literally right across the street, and this apartment went through tenants like it was nothing. And two crazy-ass people lived on the first floor. They were like an old Portuguese or like Brazilian couple or something like that. They were old and really mean, like super mean. I don't know what crawled up their ass or why they even decided to like sell a place. I think they just like really hated white people because every family that moved out was white. And then like I knew some Spanish family that moved in and they ended up being there for a little while, but not too long. We lived across the street from this house for 3-4 years or so, and it was a little too convenient that as soon as our landlord, who was really nice, he wasn't like a douchebag about it, he wasn't like, oh, get the fuck out, he was like, guys, I'm going to be renovating the place. He gave us plenty of time to like find a new apartment and stuff like that. But something had come up with like their finances, and they had to start construction sooner. And it was really random, and the landlord, like, as nicely as he could, he was like, listen, I need you guys out a little sooner than expected. And the next day, the people that lived in this house across the street moved out. So my dad's like, oh, that's awesome, that's convenient, that's perfect, don't have to hire, like, a moving truck or anything. We can just carry everything across the street. And we've always lived on the second floor, without fail. I can't remember ever living on the first floor of an apartment. Even when I moved out, I lived on the third floor of an apartment. So this was on the second floor. And, we moved in within like a few days because we had a lot of stuff, and my mom just had a baby. She just had my youngest sister. And, so we really, in such like a short time's notice, we didn't necessarily have like a shit ton of help. So the landlord was helping us, and he lived right next door to us. A few of my dad's friends, a few of the friends around like our block in the neighborhood, they came by and helped out. Like one of my friend's brothers came by and helped out. I don't know why I'm telling you about the move. This is part of the move. So we get in there, and again, I didn't really believe in ghosts at this age. Like I knew about death. I had an understanding about death. Godmother passed away. Grandpa on the other side of the family passed away. So I knew what death was. But within the first few days of living in this house, it was just like, I was very scared all the time. And very, like, I didn't want to look down the hallway towards our bedrooms. It was just, I always got such a weird feeling whenever there wasn't anyone there. So, I remember one night, and I don't even know, like, why this happened. My middle sister and I were watching TV. Now, this house apartment only had 2 bedrooms, so while Lindsay was still like an itty bitty baby, she stayed in my parents' room with them in like this little, I guess cradle. Like it was a really, I think it's like a bayonet, or not bayonet, that's like a sword. I can't really think of what it's called. I think it actually was like a bayonet. I think, possibly. Correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm just saying my parents were like killing my sister every night. I think that's the name. Okay, I'm gonna get off of it. So like before that, you know, we had the living room to ourselves. When she got older, they put her actual big crib in the living room so we couldn't stay out there late. And one night, I'm just like switching through the channels, and I think we were on like channel like, we were in like the 40s or 50s. It just switches to like channel like 2 something. And it switches to The Grudge was on. We had never ever seen this movie. Like I said, I was in the 40s and 50s, and it just switches. I didn't hit back, I didn't hit last, I didn't put in any numbers, and it was at the part where, ow, it hit a pimple, ow, the chick is in the bus, and she appears in the window, she's like right in the window. That part is the first thing that came on as soon as the channel changed. Scared the fuck out of us. I threw the remote to the wall, and we both, for some reason, ran in the bathroom. We didn't even run to our parents, we didn't run to our bedroom, we ran to the bathroom. So, we were all, like, scared, and, like, we wouldn't, like, go anywhere in the apartment without each other, like, for the rest of the night. And, sorry, that pimple hurt. So after that, like, I was getting scared before this point, but after that, it just kind of got worse, because I didn't change the channel. Laura didn't have a remote, it was just me who had a remote. Why is my phone shining? My phone, like, turned on. So, let's skip forward, and I'll start drawing the diagram out for you guys. So one day, I used to come home for lunch, because my family never had a lot of money, and school lunch was expensive. I meant to draw this small, but I'm drawing it big. Like, they had the free lunch options, but I just hated school lunch. It always made me sick. So, alright, I really meant to draw this tiny, but I guess because I'm talking, I just drew it big. So, oh well. I have plenty of sketch pads. So, coming home from school, usually I was always creeped out. I'd make something really fast and just go in the living room and sit on the far side of the couch. Wait, the door was over here, not over here. This is the door, that's not the door. Which then normally, like, I never had, like, a problem. Very bad diagram. I vaguely remember how this house looked. So just, like, it kind of looked like this. Don't count me on this. So I'm, like, coming home for lunch, and I'm doing my usual. I'm just going to the kitchen looking for something to, like, cook up and whatnot, and then I would just go in the living room, watch some TV till it was time to go back. Did it every day. Okay. God, this is such a bad drawing. I remember how it looked, but I kind of, like, fucked up on the drawing. This part is irrelevant. This part doesn't exist. Okay, 1 second, guys. Alright. Alright. You guys keep watching me draw. This probably isn't very fun. Okay. Now, the thing about this is, the way I drew it, it looks really awkward and cockeyed, but just so you know, if you were sitting at the edge of the couch, you could see into the hallway. I just drew it all types of fucked up. So, okay, here's the couch, and, like, here is where I would sit, because there was a wall here, but if you sat here, you could see right into the hallway that led into, like, mine and my parents' room. Like I said, it looks really fucked up. You can see the pimple now. TV's here, main door's here. This is, like, the bathroom. Just push the wall back a little bit. Like, there's this really weird wall that, like, separated the kitchen and the living room, but where my parents had the couch, if you sat at the end, you could see, like, perfectly into this hallway. This is really hard, guys. I'm sorry. So, I when I first came in that day, I remember sitting on the couch, like, turning on the TV, and, like, getting all ready to, like, make lunch. I didn't make lunch right away this day. Like, I looked for it, then I had plenty of time. I usually went in late because I really didn't give a fuck. I dropped out of high school, guys. We see how my education went. So, like, I'm just sitting there watching TV, then I'm like, okay, you know, it's about blah, blah, blah. I should, you know, make something and get ready to go back to school. So, the stove was right here. And it was, like, literally right in front of this hallway. You could see right down this hallway. And I'm standing, I'm not a righty, so this is going to be awkward. So, like, let's say, this is hard. So let's say that's me right there, cooking lunch. And I heard something coming from my right. I just thought it sounded like a squeak, but the floors were like, it was wood and then like carpet over the wood. There's wood floor in the kitchen, carpet in the living room, but there was like wood. There was nice wood floor and then someone just smacked carpet over it because they didn't like how the wood felt. So it sounded like wood had creaked. This was carpet, but there was wood under it. I just assumed it was the floor settling. So I continue cooking until I see something out of the corner of my eye. And I'm like, I told you guys, I had already been scared of this house for a while, so I really actually did not want to look over. And I saw, like, it was, like, black now. It wasn't close to me. It was, like, all the way by my parents' door, which was pretty much, like, the end of the house. And I see something black over there. And I'm like, okay, do I look or do I just ignore it? I decided to look, stupidly. So I turn and look, and there's this creepy, horrifyingly creepy little boy standing right here between, like, my parents' door and my bedroom door. Like, pretty much right at the end of the hallway. And, I just froze. The best way to describe how this little boy looked was he was, like, dead-colored skin, white, gray, whatever you want to call it. He had, like, a little spinny hat on, like one of those little spinny hats. A yellow and red shirt, overalls, yellow and red shoes. Just kind of, like, picture, like, Chucky's outfit, I guess. And he looked, like, mangled, or, like, not mangled, but, like, he had been beaten to death. And he was just standing there, staring at me. I promise, I was awake, I wasn't on drugs. It scared me so much, I didn't finish my lunch. I just actually turned off the stove and ran out of the house. When I got back to school, I told my counselor what happened. She actually didn't say anything about me being crazy or whatever. They just got me lunch and I ate. And, she even had said, like, I looked really, really pale. But whenever I saw him, I usually saw him in this spot. So one day, after this day had happened, it was me, my mom, and my little sister, Lindsay, at the apartment. My mom had stepped outside for 1 second because she was talking to our old neighbors who lived right across the street from us. And Lindsay was sleeping. So I heard that crack again. Again, I thought it was the floor settling because my mom had actually just walked down from that hallway. So I just went to go look to check up on Lindsay, make sure she was okay. And I go over there, and I didn't actually see the little boy, but I saw a shadow figure over her, I keep wanting to say bayonet, little thing. It looks like this. Hold on. I could just draw it for you guys. It kind of looks like that. One of those things. And she just starts screaming like crazy. So I pick her up, I run downstairs, I tell my mom what happened, and my mom came back upstairs with both of us. He followed me for years, like years, from this apartment to the one that my parents are living in now, but I haven't seen him in a while. I'm kind of happy because the last time I saw him, he looked different. Like, he looked like he'd been run over by a train. That was the last time I ever saw him. But we actually moved out of here because of Laura and I being so, like, freaked out. We were really, really scared of that apartment. We would always tell our parents, and it just got to the point where we said we would rather go live with another family member than be stuck in this house. And my mom believes in ghosts, but my dad doesn't. But it was, like, physically affecting us. Like, we were getting sick very, very often, whether it was a really bad flu, a stomach bug. Even during, like, the summer, we were getting really, really sick all the time. And then Lindsay started growing up, and she started getting really sick. Just out of nowhere, and she rarely left the house because she was still, like, a baby. I know people can say, like, oh, she rarely left the house, she went outside, germs, like, stuff like that. But she would get sick when she wasn't even going outside. So my mom talked to my dad, and she was like, listen, we gotta get out of here. The girls hate it here. They're not happy. You know, there's something going on. I remember, I got sick one time, and I wasn't able to breathe. Like, every time I took a breath, I was going, ah, and I couldn't control it. Like, I couldn't stop. Like, every time I breathed, it was like, ah, ah, and it would just do it. I couldn't stop myself from making that, like, moaning noise. It would just happened along with every time I took a breath. And then I felt, like, actually sick, and I was laying on my parents' bed, and they had to go out, and I begged them not to because I felt sick to my stomach. And they left my uncle, who is slightly retarded, to watch us. He doesn't have, like, Down syndrome or anything, but he's slow. But we love him. It's just, he's slow, and she left him to watch 2 young children. Wasn't a good idea. And I'm, like, laying on my parents' bed, and my mom, like, gave me, like, some Tums to calm my tummy down. And I felt fine, but it just seemed like whenever it was, like, my parents' room, that's when, like, I don't know, it was, like, a really bad room to be in. I'm, like, laying down. I'm really, really tired from being sick. My breathing just got back to being normal. Then my stomach just started hurting out of nowhere. Really, really bad. So I go to eat a Tums, and as soon as it hits, like, here, I puke all in my mouth. I was going to spit it on the floor, but the carpet was white, so I ran to the bathroom, and I'm freaking out. But as soon as I left my parents' room, I felt fine, but I had a mouthful of vomit. So that was kind of gross. It was just, like, we would get sick with, like, the weirdest things. Once we moved out, things started getting better. We didn't get as sick as often. I did see the little boy a few more times in the new apartment, but not often, or not nearly as often, and that was, like, the last place I ever saw him. So, that's the haunting of the little boy. He never spoke. I never ever heard him, except for, like, when things would make noises around him. I'm still holding this pen, and I still have the pad on my lap. But he was just, I don't know if he was necessarily evil, but I would always see a dark shadow. I don't know if that was the evil, malicious entity, or it was him, but there was more than one, and one of them was always making us really, really sick. Because after we moved out of there, we rarely got sick anymore. I mean, of course, we still got sick, but it really was nearly not as often as when we were living in that place. Living in that place, we were constantly sick. And a whole bunch of, like, bad things happened when we were living there. My mom got into a really bad car accident. My dad I know this is going to sound weird, but my dad actually went missing one night. And he, like, turned up in, like, a hospital. No idea what happened. My dad doesn't drink. My dad doesn't do drugs. And we, all 3 of us, besides Lindsay, were, like, up all night, like, wondering where he was. We couldn't get in touch with him. Anything. Like, just a lot of bad shit happened when we were in that house. But luckily, I haven't seen him in a while. I really hope I don't, because he is very, very scary. So, yeah, like I said, I have plenty more ghost stories where that one came from. But that's the one that whenever people ask me if I've ever experienced a ghost, that's the one that always stands out in my mind that I will never forget. It was just, it was bad. So thank you guys for watching, and if you like ghosty stories and me doing random videos, you should totally subscribe. Comments are enough to let me know if you guys like what I talk about. Not so much likes. But yeah, the next time I make a video, I will talk about the ghost cat that haunted me and many people. I'm not the only one that actually saw it in my uncle's house. Many people saw it, wasn't just me, but that's another video. So next time will be Ghost Kitty. Alright, bye guys, thanks for watching.